welcome to another edition of Tailgate Update with Caleb, Julie, and Ryan.
In this week's episode of Tailgate Update, we're going to lead off with probably the biggest story in sports so far, which is Northwestern firing both their baseball coach, Jim Foster, and football coach, Pat Fitzgerald. I don't know if you guys heard about this, the hazing that was going on, not only in football, but also with the baseball team, toxic culture, lots of bullying going on. And one player was quoted as, "This is the best day of my life," when he found out that Jim was fired. So
always a good start. That's always the reveal you want as a coach. Yeah, things got weird
Definitely.
over there. I don't know quite how things got so weird in every sport, but they definitely need a big culture change. I hear there's also some pretty alarming racism going on, so clearly they need an entire revamping of the culture there because things got weird.
That's you never want to be remembered as the coach that people cheered to be fired.
He got a 1-star
If
review.
you had a Yelp disaster.
Yeah.
If your former player is ever asked a question about you and he says, "I was glad that he was fired," I don't think you're doing it right.
I would give you 0 stars if I could. Like the worst reviews. Yes.
good chance that you didn't do very good. But that's what happens though. I mean, especially a guy like Pat. He's been in the program for 17 years now. I mean, he's Northwestern football relevant in the Big Ten, which is hard to do when you got schools like Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State surrounding you. But I think sometimes these coaches just get a little too big for their britches and end up in these situations where they think that they're just untouchable.
Yeah, and he tried to say that, or there was an implication that he didn't know what was happening in the locker room, but then they found out that he was sort of, or allegedly, possibly instigating it himself with the rookies. And so it was a little bit hard for us to buy when it seemed like he was more than in on it.
Well, and what's worse? Is it worse to be totally negligent to it, or is it worse to be in on it? So I don't know.
Ask Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I mean, when I graduated from college with a sports management degree, and I had to take leadership as a class, this is probably going to be something that professor is going to use in the coming years.
Yeah.
I mean, this is leadership, lacking qualities. Pretty telling of his character as well. Especially if he's instigating it, and then he tries to say that, "Oh, I had no idea what was going on." If you don't know what's going on in your own locker room, time to hit the bricks, buddy.
Yeah, well, we all know how it's going to go. He's going to go to, rehab with Nick Saban, Alabama, and he'll be coaching some other team in the next 2 or 3 years. So,
yeah, I mean,
was that a shot at Bama right there?
No, it's just the route that every other head coach that was a bad way to go. So, unofficial.
It's usually how it goes, Caleb.
What's that?
It's usually how it goes. If we're judged in the sporting world, you're judged on what you do.
You can kick
if you do something
and go back to college ball. So I don't know how worried college is about that kind of thing.
I mean, it's measured by success. How much success have you had before you did something ridiculous?
Success and money.
That's how the sporting world works.
Yeah, but if
you can win 5 Super Bowls, be the all-time leader in passing yards, and then slap your wife and people go, "Oh, well, he's a great guy though. He had an accident. He'll get another chance."
The bad one.
Yeah, and hazing happens, as we all know, in a lot of different schools. But they went above and beyond in the weirdness category to the point where it got out. And so that's when you know, because I have some questions about the other players and their life choices, but if it actually gets out that it's real bad because it's happening everywhere. So
oh yeah, it's happening. Yeah, no doubt. Every locker.
I don't understand why this is so popular in college sports, hazing and such, and all these scandals with all these nice football schools. Because when I played in high school, they literally had a meeting where you had to know about hazing, and it was frowned upon. I'm not sure how college athletics work, but why is that allowed to happen and not be brought to attention in college sports?
I think it's a pretty normal thing to sort of razz on the new guys. I know there was a school in my district that had 7th to 12th graders, and they would always say like the 7th graders would all get their chance in the trash can, because they get pushed over and stuck in a locker. So I think like it's not unusual to kind of razz on the little guy, the youngest person. But it's kind of when it goes from like a little bit of, endearing, interaction to when things get real weird. Like that's the difference between a little bit of rousing, because I know with like the NFL, the Turkey Jones got his nickname because the team would always tell people that there was a turkey farm and they had to go out and drive out to get the turkey every Thanksgiving, but there was no turkey farm. So Turkey Jones fell for it twice in 2 separate years with the Browns. And so that's how he got the name. And so I think like it's not unusual to like, send somebody out to a turkey farm that don't exist, but that's different than the kind of weird stuff that was going on in the locker room. Okay. Because you don't got to get on that level with each other,
Yeah, that's a little extra than carry my shoulder pads, freshman.
Yeah. The turkey farm is kind of fun. People will kind of make fun of you. They'll jostle you a little bit and call you Turkey Jones for the rest of your career, but that's a little less traumatizing than having
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about this.
I don't know, Caleb.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's enough of that. Let's move on to some baseball. Angels, surprise, surprise, are listening in on Shohei Ohtani trade calls. And despite their winning record, I don't think that they're catching either the Rangers or the Houston Astros in the playoff race, especially with the NL or AL East being as deep as it is. I don't know. That's going to be the next $600 billion or $600 million contract, if you ask me. But who's going to pay it? Who's going to pay it? Trade?
I don't know, Caleb. According to some fans, Ohtani is worth $600 billion. So,
I mean, are you? If you're a team, are you going to take the chance at a trade this year? Give up maybe a couple proven commodities as well as some of your top prospects in hopes that he resigns with you, or is that worth just a rental to win the World Series this year?
no, sir. I'm no sailing on that one. As great as Ohtani is, I'm not doing it for a 4-month rental.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'm not giving up my farm club just for 4 months because there's no guarantee that. Let's just say, as a Cardinals fan, let's just say the front office pulls the deal off for Ohtani. He's not resigning. There's no way they're spending money on that in the offseason. We're giving up players. We'll probably give up players such as Walker and Carlson, guys like that, and maybe even Mason Wynn in the minors for 4-month rental. Why would you do that?
Yeah, when he might just very well go sign with the Dodgers next year.
Exactly.
He seems like
you got teams like the A's. When's the last time they ever re-signed somebody?
Never.
They got rid of Chapman.
Never ever.
They're living.
They got rid of Chapman.
Like Bon Jovi.
Oh, they're definitely living on a prayer. They're living on a prayer.
That he'll come back. That's what it is. You ask them why they would do that because they're living on a prayer. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, they got rid of Chapman. Oakland did. I'm not saying that they're going to pull off a deal to get Ohtani. I'm not saying that at all. It's just you have teams like that who will try something to get them over the hump, knowing they're not going to be able to spend money on him. It's just wasting future talent.
Mm.
Well, they'll never do that, but yeah, I'm afraid that he's ran his course at least with the Angels for the remainder of this year. I don't see willing to blow that money either. I think that they need to kind of restart again. Honestly, Mike Trout could use a fresh landing spot as well, but I don't see them ever moving him.
It's not just him needing a fresh start, it's the organization. Mike Trout, even at his age and his ailments of his glass body, he can still pull in some good prospects. You laugh, Julie, but this dude is on the IL like every time I turn around.
I know. I'm just.
Plus, I believe he has degenerative disc disease in his back. I believe it was.
Yeah, wouldn't that just come out and that he had that?
Yeah, last year they came out and said he had something going on with his back.
It's really sad.
And now he's got a broken wrist. Is it?
Yeah, something. I think.
It's hard to keep.
I mean,
because as you said, he's made out of glass.
He's a great player, but I probably wouldn't take him to start my franchise around, knowing what I know about him now.
I'd still probably take him.
He's
also the past decade, so.
I mean, he's a great player. He's probably Hall of Fame bound, but I'm not going to start.
If he hung the cleats up, he'd be Hall of Famer.
And what's that other story about the Hall of Famer? That you've had, Caleb?
Don Mattingly.
Oh yes.
Donnie Baseball. I was thinking about Leaf, but that's okay. Let's go.
Oh. All right.
Donnie Baseball.
Ryan, you sent us this earlier. I didn't realize it. This is like just a crazy, insane stat. Kind of looks like Christian Yelich's home run totals if you look at his year to year. Milwaukee cheated. So Mattingly played 14 years in the big leagues. How many grand slams did he hit?
Do you want me to give the actual answer, or do you want me to play dumb?
Give the answer.
6. Yeah. He had 6 grand slams his entire career. It's 14 years in the show.
Yeah, that's not bad, right?
You just hit them all in 1 year.
Yeah.
You just hit them all in 1 year.
Record breaker. Still stands today. Pretty incredible.
Well, we know that sometimes records are not always a clear definition of how good or bad a player is. But it is funny.
That's just
my best friend, he sent me the text earlier. He's the one that sent me the graphic. He's like, dude, check this out. This is crazy. And I was like, oh, dude, we're doing the show tonight. I gotta definitely send this to the group chat. Yeah, this has to be on the show.
Yeah, 6.
So I'm looking it up right now.
Never hitting one ever outside of that. Like, what must have been?
What were his home run totals for that year? Do you know?
For the year? No, I'm not sure.
6. No, I'm just kidding.
6. Yeah, he hit 6 home runs, all 6 are grand slams.
Yeah.
So it's looking like A-Rod has the all-time lead in grand slams with 25. Lou Gehrig is next at 23. Manny Ramirez at 21. It's just
Yankees and Red Sox.
Mattingly hit 6, and he's not even close.
It's A-Rod hit 20, you said?
Yeah, he has 25 grand slams.
Yeah. That happened a lot when you play for the Yankees in the 2000s.
Real.
It also happens a lot when you play in a Little League ballpark.
That's also true. Man.
Kind of like a 49ers quarterback. You have to be so bad it's unethical to not look great.
The Cubs just played a series over there, and they hit like 3 over, the world's tiniest fence in the shortest field ever in right field. And it just drove me nuts. But
in New York.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
total league ballpark. But
I mean,
speaking
Boston's no different.
grand slams and Cubs baseball, Cody Bellinger's hitting 476 so far in the month of July. And just in the past 18 hours, he's hit 3 home runs, including a grand slam. Dude's been on fire. Sounding like he could be potential trade bait for the Cubs, which would be a total. You're coming toward the end of what is not an official rebuild, but is a rebuild. And if you're going to be competitive, even if you're not competitive this year and you want to be in 2024, you got to keep guys like Cody Bellinger on the staff. You got to keep Marcus Stroman, who's got 3rd, 4th best ERA in the National League. At some point, you got to start keeping people around. You can't keep dumping all-stars for people that may not even touch the grass at the big league level for you. So
that's a really impressive record. I don't know what he ate for those 18 hours, but he needs some like brand deals or something because he had
whatever it is.
Yeah. How do you?
I honestly thought he was legally blind after his MVP season.
I think we were all thinking that.
I definitely thought he was legally blind. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
I'm legally blind, Ryan. What are you trying to say about me?
Can you hit a baseball?
Probably not.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
He couldn't either.
Couldn't either. No. Yeah, was he hitting like 190 something a couple years ago? Just atrocious.
I don't know.
Look, he got the right eye doctor and he's back at it, and now he's on some kind of like, whatever 18-hour energy drink because
well,
it work.
Hitting 308, I think, on the year.
How many bombs did he got?
12.
So not a lot of pop for the first half of the year.
I mean,
compared to
Bellinger was going to come in, hit over 300, and be on pace for close to 30 home runs on the year. I would take that in a heartbeat. What a reclamation project the Cubs got going for him, and for cheap, man.
Mm-hmm.
These 1-year rentals.
You can thank his lack of eyesight for that one.
He is.
I don't know. I lost hope for him those last couple years in
LA. Like you got to get it back.
I don't have to because he's a Cub. He's a Cub, and
Okay, well, no one asked you, so that's good.
Well, let's a guy that has no issue hitting a hole-in-one, Steph Curry today. That's an American Classic Championship hole-in-one. I can't stand Steph Curry, but I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, dude's a sniper on the court and a sniper on the links. It's pretty incredible what he did today. But did you guys happen to see a celebration?
Was watching him from the golf cart?
It did everything short of ripping his shirt off on the golf course in front of everybody. Dude just sprinted out to the green and was just losing his mind. It's pretty cool, but can't say I wouldn't do the same.
You don't got to do all that when you're already like 4 feet taller than everyone else on the green, but
I mean, I thought I was gonna hit one the other day, but I didn't. So
I don't think
I can't
there's
have
enough
a reaction
in the city for me to find a golf course. So I won't even try.
Ryan, you golf?
Yeah, I do golf. I just picked up golf again 3 years ago. I used to golf when I was a kid, but never really cared for it much. And then I was getting ready to graduate college, and I was like, what? I need a hobby. So I was like, I'm going to grab some golf clubs, go play. I was booty for a long time. And now I'm less booty.
I was on the varsity team in high school, and I even got a letter for it, but that's only because there was 7 people and you needed 6 for the team, and one girl kept rolling her ankle. So does that mean that I was good? It depends on how you look at it.
Nobody else has to.
I
know it.
mean, I shoot in the 90s, but like, it's nothing to write home about.
Not a Stephen Curry rip your shirt off event.
Yeah, no, I
7.
mean, I shoot in the 90s. I can't complain about it. I used to shoot like 120. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, and I can't use my driver because if I had to hit my ball straight off the tee with my driver or starve, I'd die of starvation. I slice it 97 yards to the left. Every
I
time.
got some hand-me-down garden clogs to go golfing in, and I also had a different set of golf clubs that were all from different sets, some of which were made for very tall men. So
wait, hold on. Wait a minute. You say you had clogs to go
Okay.
golfing in?
garden clogs, yeah, that was
Okay.
the affordable option my school went for. So I definitely understand the difficulty of having the appropriate clubs because some were very hard to operate.
Yeah, I tee off with a 5-iron. That's the only thing I can hit straight.
6 for me is 6 irons. My bread and butter.
Yeah, 5-iron, chipping. I just got a new putter. I'm hoping to break that in the next couple days here.
We'll have to hit the links once come up there for your wedding.
I mean, how long you plan on staying for?
Long enough to
We're gonna have to get around.
Long enough to go golfing?
yeah.
Long enough to go golfing? Okay, I got you. I'll show you guys around when you come up. Since you guys think I live in the middle of nowhere.
I'll tell you who's not golfing anymore right now is old Patty Kane. Got the hip rehab. Got his hip shaved recently. That hip injury might tell a story as to why he was not effective in his tenure there. A little short stint with the Rangers. But it looks like he'll be making a return probably late fall, November, December timeframe. Gonna muck up his free agency deal, I'm guessing. Sounds like he may be coming back to New York, but
I mean, what other options does he have?
I mean,
I believe Ryan. Sorry, go ahead, Caleb. Sorry about that.
I'm just saying, I mean, if you're Patrick Kane, even though you're 34, 35 years old, I think, you still probably have enough juice in the tank still for a couple more years, I'd imagine. I mean, hockey's different. These guys, they take such good care of their bodies nowadays that there's no reason he couldn't play until 40, even though he passed, but he's still got the stick, man.
I think Ryan Kessler had the same surgery in 17.
Did he?
When he was with the Ducks, and he didn't look the same after he came back. So I think he might have been around the same age as Patty Kane.
Injuries can look a lot different for a lot of people, and surgeries can also vary. So, I mean, let's not put him in the grave yet.
Not yet.
I'm not putting him in the grave. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't hold the highest hopes as great as he is, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hate to see it for such a great player like Patrick Kane, but
talking about Tarasenko last week, and I mean, I think again, just another guy that would be like put you over the edge. You need somebody with that cup experience, somebody who knows what it takes to get there. He's done it 3 times, almost 5 times. I don't know. I think that for the right price, I mean, I'd want him on my team for sure.
You can't put a price on experience, even if he can't move quite the same. Like, there's still, so much that he can do, and so much that he can pass on. So it might be worth having him be a little different on the ice if he's bringing all that to the table.
I mean, if anything, you can drop him down to the third line. If he's not going to be that productive, drop him down to the third line, reduce his minutes a little bit, and put him on the power play. I mean,
yeah,
the man advantage is definitely going to be key for him because you have a man advantage. So, I mean, if he's not going to be effective, do something to make him effective. I mean, that's what great coaches do.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to not sign him if I'm the Rangers. But
Yeah.
like I said, I wouldn't hold high hopes for him to be Patrick Kane of 2019.
Sure.
No, but I definitely like you brought up the third line. I mean, who else is third or fourth line is gonna be able to match a winger like that? Like nobody. So that'd be a great way to look at an otherwise probably middle of the road line. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also if you're the Rangers, you probably should get somebody in front of Shesterkin so he's not staying on his head in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So, I mean, only time will tell, right?
We shall see.
What's up next, Caleb?
Oh man. Oh, Alex Galchenyuk. Oh man.
Oh,
Somebody had themselves.
this one I don't know why, but this one makes me laugh so much. It's just
Can we get like the Law and Order like dun, 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 like this like true crime?
it's just ridiculous.
The home.
So
no. For us on that one.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the most craziest things I've ever heard. Like, this is just so layered. So the Coyotes signed Galchenyuk on the 1st. Okay. Well, 8 days later they decided, yeah, you're not right for us. The reason being is he was arrested. He was arrested for hit and run, threatening, and it just resisting arrest also. So his dad is also part of this. So let me see if I can find it here. Galchenyuk had been lying on the ground close to his car where his father, Galchenyuk Sr., was reportedly seen picking him up and putting him in the passenger seat. His dad then drove away before officers conducted a traffic stop, but they were later pulled over while the father tried to take the blame for the incident and said he was the one who ran over the curb. Okay. Witnesses said the son had been the one driving the car. So lying to an officer. This is ridiculous.
I'm just trying to imagine him driving down the road with a car that just ran over a curb and hit a sign and like what that car would look like. I'm thinking that was like the good getaway situation. Caleb, you're a dad. Would you pick your child up, John? I know they're not old enough yet. But do you think that would be your course of action?
Your kids better not be drinking yet, Caleb.
Yeah.
What's that?
Said your kids better not be drinking yet.
Yeah. Well, they gotta deal with me. I don't know. Might be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean hey, I'd like to think that I would not do that and I would be a stand-up citizen and abide by the law. Hey, you done messed up. Like you gotta time to pay the piper. But I don't know in the situation like you're rushing around, like you're nervous, like oh man, like he's gonna be screwed. Russian career. There's the Russian mob that we can throw at them, like.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of Russian, Ryan, do you want to mention that part? How did he threaten the police specifically?
Okay, so he was reportedly heavily impaired and smelled like alcohol. He was allegedly not cooperating and began threatening officers by saying he had connections in Russia who could hurt them and their loved ones. He was then quoted as saying, "One phone call and you're all dead. Your whole family, your bloodline is dead."
Pretty definitive.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're also budding genealogists because they're going to have to find everybody in that bloodline for multiple cops. So, get started.
He was booked, too. He was.
Yeah.
The lady he hit, she isn't physically hurt, but her vehicle is damaged. She's pressing charges. He was booked on multiple charges, including hit and run, resisting arrest, and threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you done messed up. Usually when we hear sports stories, an athlete does something ridiculous, they're arrested, or know, there's a scandal. It's just cut and dry. They did this, they did this, they did this.
Yeah.
This dude's got like 17 layers in one story.
And generational in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
He's gonna call up his
passenger seat, and then I'm gonna drive the car probably with the messed up, like the front of the car's falling off. He's like, okay, we're gonna get away, son. We're gonna get away. Like the metal scraping on the ground, like.
Yeah, sparks coming off.
Right.
Takes the right hand turn, sparks fly.
If
I mean,
that messed up, what I'm sure that the dad was probably drinking as well, right? I mean,
I was wondering that, but if he could pick him up and then put him away, maybe he wasn't, quite as schmammered, it sounds like.
From what I understand too, when the report came out that he was arrested, he also used racial slurs in this barrage on this police officer. It's like, oh, you caught me hit and run, you caught me trying to get away, fleeing the scene. How dare you?
Yeah, I'm gonna threaten
you must pay.
The life of every relative you've ever had in your entire life, and then also I'm going to use racial slurs just to make sure there's a trifecta.
Yeah.
Not exactly a relations busy.
He's gonna call cousin Victor, and you're done.
Yeah, he's gonna need to get the same PR person that Colleen Ballinger.
When I heard it, I was like, okay, that's odd. And then I just read that story before we started recording. I was like, what?
Like, you know what he needs to do? He needs to get his ukulele out and tell us all that he's not sorry. He's glad we're having fun. That's what he needs to do.
Oh,
yeah.
Alex, you've given us quite the entertainment tonight, and we thank you.
Dun, dun.
Get some help, dude.
True crime meets sports. Yes.
True crime meets sports, Julie?
Yeah. Well,
did you say true crime? Did you say true crime?
I heard it.
He threatened the entire bloodline of a family. I think we've made it.
So would you consider it to be stupid actions taken by Alex?
Yeah, what else would it be?
I mean, I'm just trying to tie in stupid actions by dog owners.
In the world of unintelligent people making bad decisions, we also have the segment Blaming Dogs for Human Error. So this week, a lawsuit was settled that resulted from a dog attack in 2021. And it was Ezekiel Elliott's semi-famous dog, Ace. The dogs got out because the landscaper left the gate open, and the dogs bit one neighbor who didn't press any charges, and then another woman decided she would take the dogs and put them in her backyard because that makes sense. And when she did, they attacked her, and she was upset about it. They left Severe, the three of them, Ace the Rottweiler, and the two bulldogs, Jack, and Deuce. And so she had severe and permanent injuries. And also Elliot was sued for knowing that his dogs have a propensity to bite and attack people and not doing enough to prevent that, which I think most people would call a fence that someone else left open. But what do I know? As a result of the attack, I mean, what are you supposed to do with your dogs besides put them in a fence if they have bit someone before? What other core? Anyway, so Elliot got 3 citations, and only Ace, not Jack, and Deuce, was quarantined and banned from the city for some reason. So part of it could be there are 3 lawsuits surrounding Ace, and 2 of them involve Jack, and Deuce, but just the 2. In 2020, a pool attendant allegedly got attacked by all 3 and needed surgery. She tried to sue Ezekiel again, but it got dropped. and the animal services investigated and they didn't do any charges. So don't really know what the story was behind that, but it seems like if everything was dropped and no charges, something else might have been happening. There's a pending lawsuit from a Texas doggy daycare employee that apparently Ace also bit, but I think that's kind of bizarre because I worked at a doggy daycare and there was a sort of a no lawsuit policy. There was dogs that got aggressive when they went to the daycare all the time, and that can be pretty normal to become aggressive, like kennel aggressive is the word for it. So I thought it was weird that she was pressing charges and knowing that that's sort of a hazard of the job. But anyway, that one's still pending. And then the third, the settlement one that just got settled, it involved a landscaper too. He also got sued, but we don't know exactly what the settlement was, so we don't know all the parties involved and everything. Then when Ace was in quarantine by himself, because somehow Jack, and Deuce got out of that, he bit someone who was trying to feed him. And at this point, I have to say, at what point does the incompetency end? Because if you know that a dog is a little nippy and you work at a center where dogs are being quarantined after attacking people, how did you get bit in the hand when you fed him? Is there not a protocol for the? Anyways, I have a lot of questions about every single person in this story. And Ace is semi-famous because he actually attended adoption events at the SPCA of Texas with Elliot. And there's photos of like the media petting all over him. So, and Elliot has a tattoo of Ace on his arm. So clearly there's a strong relationship there. And I have no idea why the dogs are sort of so different in these circumstances. But in terms of dogs and Dallas, there was another incident where Dak Prescott also had pupper problems in the same city in 2019. Yeah, Prescott had two dogs that got out of his yard somehow, and they were still in their yard when they were trying to squabble with the neighbor's dogs. A little fence barky bark situation. The neighbor was in the backyard with her dogs and saw that the other dogs had gotten out of the yard. Prescott's dogs had gotten out. So they were, barking, and this went on for 20 minutes. And then the Prescott's dogs broke through the fence and gripped one of her dogs by the mouth, by the head, or what. He bit the dog and was hanging on to it. So her brand idea here was to manually try to take the pit bull's jaws off of her dog, and lost her finger in the process, the tip of her ring finger. And then while getting the dog to drop hers. And so and she was hospitalized. And afterwards, her second brilliant idea was to chase the dogs down the street and then call 911. Because if a dog bit me once, I definitely want to test it again by literally chasing them. In result, one of the puppies, Icon, was also banned from the city after being quarantined. So seems like the city has their hands full with banning. And I would ask you, gentlemen, if you had an option, would you, I don't know, bring your dogs inside maybe when you hear dogs fighting them on the other side of the fence, or I don't know, call the neighbor, call the police if you're really worried about it? Or did you wait 20 minutes until they broke down the fence and then grabbed your dog and then you manually took the dog's jaws off of your dogs?
Yeah, I'd probably bring them just out of pure annoyance of listening to the dogs back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense to wait 20 minutes till the situation escalates to a really bad place, but
yeah, it sounds like some of these people are looking for lawsuits, in my opinion. But
they know who the dog owners are.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Honestly, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take these dogs that I don't really know, and I'm gonna put them in my backyard, and then I'm gonna react if they bite me.
Yeah, what
Maybe
kind
you
of
just don't put them in
idea?
your
Pretty much.
backyard.
Well, it's crazy to me. The one that happened in his backyard got dropped, but the one where the landscaper let the dogs out on accident, that one did not. It's kind of weird.
Yes, and she brought the woman who sued. She brought the dogs into her backyard, and then she sued Elliot over it. So like, it seems weird to me that she made the extra step to bring those dogs onto her private property and then decided to sue him for them attacking her when she was the one who initiated that contact. But you know what? I'm not a lawyer, so I'm clearly missing something here, apparently. And it says, despite knowing his dogs have a propensity to bite and attack people, he was, you know, he didn't do enough. And I'm like, is that not what offense is for? I'm not quite sure what that means.
Just never let them outside, I guess.
Yeah, barricade them in the house.
Yep.
I mean, I'm the type of guy who kind of eliminates all possibilities of that happening. So, like, if my dogs, like, if I'm in that situation, I'm definitely doing the most precautionary thing. So,
I'm not putting dogs I don't know in my backyard. I'm not going to let my dogs continue to fight other dogs through a fence for 20 minutes. I have been on the other side of having a dog get away and having them bark at dogs through a fence. And the thing is we took that dog away. Amazing. It's amazing how when you remove one, then you don't have to lose your finger. But you know, what do I even know? What do I even know? So
it comes down to two things, Julie. It comes down to two things: wanting to sue somebody that you know has money, and lack of common sense.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to make sure for the viewers that we fully covered incompetence from the sports world this week between a DWI and a threatening an entire family's bloodline, and then also trying apparently to get attacked by dogs. So that is it for true crime today in the sports world.
Now, to get away from people losing their fingers at dogs, let's talk about the All-Star break. How pointless it is. To be honest, the All-Star break is absolutely pointless for every sport now. The Pro Bowl is just a joke. And honestly, the home run derby was much more entertaining when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's me just yelling at the clouds or what, but having 10 outs is way more entertaining than having 2 minutes to hit as many home runs as you possibly can. Because then you have...
Ryan, could be both.
Could be both. But for me personally, I don't care to see Julio Rodriguez hit 41 bombs in one round of the home run derby. There's not a lot of drama in that.
But you
I don't know how you guys feel about it.
That was impressive.
I mean, there's a lot of stamina in it, but ball go far. Doesn't do it for me. I'm not very stimulated.
Flag football was pretty great, though, you have to admit.
You know, I'm just glad they didn't try to pass off a product with football in it. They just told us what it was going to be like. They told us it was going to be flag football instead of, oh, well, we're going to have the Pro Bowl today. Let's just see if we can find a tackle today.
The skills competition was definitely the thing to look forward to back in the day. I know they're bringing it back, but it's still not the same.
I mean, to me, the Pro Bowl for years was just insulting our intelligence as football fans.
Yeah.
And then when they started drafting teams, that was even more of a slap in the face to me as a viewer. I don't know if that's just me being an old head, but no. I don't know. I feel like it was much more entertaining when I was a kid.
I mean, baseball's definitely got like the best one probably. I mean, the NBA is a freaking joke. The score's like 200 to 200 by the end of it. And football, nobody wants to tackle anybody since Sean Taylor blew Tom Brady up. And
but the Manning brothers were coaches, and that was gold.
Yeah.
The Manning brothers are just gold in general.
Yeah, so you can only imagine as flag football team coaches how cinematically gifted that was. See, I think the trouble is, Ryan, is that you can't look at it from the past and compare this now. You kind of have to only look at what it is, and then with a sense of humor and not what it was, and view it as mockery, because you could do it either way, but I just find that I'm having more fun when I just ride with it.
Okay.
I look.
If you're
yeah,
gonna ride with it, that's cool, but like, I don't
Ride-
know. I'm not.
I agree. Like the home run derby, go back to 10 outs, man. That was you had to be precise with it, and
Yeah.
I mean, I just think of like Sammy Sosa just hitting bombs over the tracks, and
Big
he
Mac,
just
Mm.
man.
I don't know.
But bring back steroids, right?
No. I mean, speaking of steroids, my poster, I got Big Mac behind
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And the bear too.
Yeah.
You can tell he's been juicing up.
No, the Bears actually got some like white substance on his hands, so it kind of looks like Lawrence Taylor took him out for a good night. Or
Got it. Yeah. He's fueled with a different kind of juice.
I don't back to it though. I don't know what you do about the baseball All-Star game. I mean, they tried with the, whoever wins NL or AL gets home field advantage for the World Series. And I don't know how I feel about a BS exhibition game that nobody really wants to be there for, making that much of. I mean, that's a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Say the Cubs win 100 this year, and then the win 90 games, but they get home field advantage because they won the All-Star game. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, as much as it doesn't seem right, at least it makes the game mean something. Especially if you're going to have it in the middle of the year.
They look at
Ryan
it like that.
is searching for meaning in this world.
Hey, I am.
You have to.
Okay.
But like for me, if you're going to do an all-star break and you're going to give teams like 3 days off, 4 days off, you have for baseball, you have they don't even have the I'm losing the word for it now. The juniors game, the futures game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Kel? They don't do that on All-Star weekend anymore, do they? All-Star break? They do it like 2 weeks before, right?
They do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Could have swore they. No, I think they should add skills competitions. Something like fastest relay, run around the bases.
Do you watch the Pro Bowl skill?
I mean, I used to love the Pro Bowl skills competitions.
Yeah.
That was good TV right there.
That was top
Because they
notch.
still have them, and so like, would you prefer that they add them and then you don't like how they do it, or just skip it altogether? Because
I would rather them have a skills competition, not like an obstacle course or.
I would rather them not slap us in the face and convince us they're trying. I would rather them try and give us what we want.
I mean, look, it's like video games. Like you have a community that is screaming for the same thing, and you're just sitting there, just like, I wish I knew what they want. They just don't like anything we do anymore. It's like, wow, we're literally telling you what to do, and you're just refusing to do it.
I mean, flag football is always the answer, but I hear you. Yeah.
I mean, flag football is not a bad concept. I mean, it's a good alternative to what they had. It's pretty much what they're doing without pads now. I mean, you guys know, I wrote the article on it a couple months ago. It's just god awful stuff.
Speaking of articles, definitely make sure to catch my article about Luis Suarez taking a bite out of soccer that I just released this weekend. In case you didn't know, he is chompier than Ace, Jack, Icon, or Deuce, because he thinks that an appropriate thing to do on the field is to bite his opponent. So in case you were looking for a little bit more chomping, go to theforkball.com and take a look at that.
Does anybody else find it a little odd that Dak Prescott names his dog something he's not ever going to be? I mean, talk about keeping your feet on the ground and reach for the stars.
He's trying to manifest it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So if I name my dog Zeus, I'll be the god of thunder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tune in next
I'll
week.
do that.
The Ryan is absolutely jacked.
Tune in next week. Ryan's gonna be shredded and throwing lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Yep, just like that bear. All right, guys. Well, I think that this was a good one, and we will catch everyone next week.
Absolutely.
Tune in next week to get your tailgate updated. There's an implication that he didn't know what was happening in the locker room, but then they found out that he was sort of with the rook. That's me.
For real.
Doopy, are you the best thing about this podcast this week? Yeah. Don't give me that side eye. Meow. He's not impressed.